About the solar eclipse, a total solar eclipse, which is set to span North America on Monday with the, I couldn't say this earlier on,
you can do
astronomical phenomenon. There we go. It was 6:10 last time I tried to say it. It's going to last for up to 4 minutes and 28 seconds.
It'll be less dramatic in the UK, as Elizabeth was saying earlier, but a partial eclipse could be visible in some parts of the country. Our reporter Ben Wolvin has the report.
All right, guys, are we ready? Okay.
Preparing for totality. This is Dallas, Texas, where tomorrow lunchtime 100% of the sun will be covered by the moon.
Who's excited? The eclipse is coming. The eclipse is coming. The eclipse is coming.
Eclipse chaser Letitia Ferrer is ready to witness daytime darkness for her 21st time.
I've seen 20 all over the world.
It's just such a feeling in my soul that I'm so grateful to be there and so happy to see it, and enough that I'm sort of addicted to them. I'm addicted to that feeling of that being that for those few seconds or minutes, being one with the universe and being really present and feeling it.
I think it's gonna be scary because it's gonna be very dark at like daytime, and I've never seen an eclipse, so my parents are scared too because they also never seen an eclipse either.
The last time a total eclipse was visible in the US was in 2017, when thousands gathered here in Oregon.
This year in the United States is a great place to see the total solar eclipse. It will be coming up through Mexico and exiting up toward Maine, so across the central part of the United States. You need to be inside the path of totality to see the total eclipse, which is a small band. However, you can see partial eclipse from all over the United States. So here in Washington, we'll see about 87% of the sun covered by the moon.
In the UK, people in the west of the country should be able to catch a partial eclipse from just before 8 tomorrow evening. It's been nearly 25 years since the last total eclipse was visible here in 1999. The next one will be 66 years from now, in September 2090. Ben Wolvin, BBC News.
Well, we are joined by astronomer Ben Marshall. Morning to you. Very exciting. The hype is developing out there in the United States. What's so good about an eclipse?
Well, they're very rare, first of all. So you get loads of different eclipses, but the one we've got coming on Monday is what's called a total eclipse. So the moon is close enough that it's going to be completely covering the sun. So during the day, in like Texas, you're talking about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it will go pitch black. Like it's in the middle of the night, and you'll be able to see the stars, and more importantly, you'll be able to see what's called the corona around the sun, which is very rare to see because it's so dim compared to the brightness of the sun. And it's this little dance between the sun, the earth, and the moon that it just so happens that it lines up perfectly at this time.
And it's about the positioning of the moon, but the distance of the moon
Yes.
as well.
So you do get different types. So in October last year, we had what's called an annular eclipse, which is where the moon does pass in front of the sun.
So you can see it, but it doesn't cover
Yeah, but it's
it.
a little bit further away, so it's slightly smaller. So you get what's called a ring of fire around the edge, because it doesn't completely cover the sun. But now it's a little bit closer. It's about 242,000 miles away, so it's a little bit larger.
Is that all?
Just that.
Just round the
practically
corner.
next door.
You can imagine back in, medieval times, that when on the occasions things like that happened, they must have been terrified, sign from God, whatever.
Yeah.
Now scientists learn from it. What can you learn from watching an eclipse?
Well, we can learn a lot of data about that corona that I mentioned because it's so difficult to see. We do have special telescopes for looking at it, but it's very rare to get it. But even back to the beginning of the last century, we used it to prove Einstein's general relativity. So Sir Arthur Eddington took an image of the stars behind the sun and then took the same image 6 months later and could see that the stars had moved just slightly, which meant that the gravity of the sun was bending the light and proved general relativity.
Oh, wow. That's what I would use it for, Roger.
Yeah.
That's probably
I
hard.
hope you're keeping up at 8:32 at home on a Sunday morning. So you can learn from it. I mean, it's very important, isn't it? We saw in the pictures some people using special equipment to look. It's very important you don't just stare at it, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you should never look at the sun anyway. But if you are in totality, your eyes, when you look at the sun, kind of adapt and stop you. But when it's in totality, your eyes don't know that the sun is there.
which is what people describe as being extremely spooky. People who've witnessed this full eclipse say the birds stop singing, everything descends into momentary darkness, and it feels like you're in another universe.
Well, one of the things that'll happen as well is, you know, as the sun sets, just after it's set, you get that blue haze on the western horizon. During the totality, you will get that in a 360 degrees around you. The whole horizon will have that blue glow to it. And then you get weird things with shadows. So just before it turns into totality, shadows become incredibly sharp. So trees will form perfect leaf shadows if you're lucky enough to.
And it's interesting that you get them about once every 18 months somewhere in the world, don't we? A total eclipse. But the last one here was 1999. I remember it. Old enough.
What do you remember about it?
I remember I was working. That's about all I really remember.
But did it feel creepy?
Yeah, it did feel creepy. It went dark. That's all I really remember. But the interesting thing is the next one in this country that you'll be able to see completely won't be until 2090. So if I ever want to see another one in my lifetime, I'm going to have to go somewhere to do it. They're not.
You never know.
Common.
You might still be.
I doubt it.
Eat well and exercise.
They're very rare, aren't they?
Yes. So there is one in 2 years' time in Spain in August. It's probably the best place to go for it. So a lot of us are already planning travel for that one. But people plan these years in advance to go and see them. I've got a friend who bought his house because it's on the path to totality.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, he's going to be clouded out, so that doesn't go well.
Is that
for tomorrow's, yes.
For tomorrow?
Oh, what a shame.
Oh, dear. So where's that? Where's the house? Is that in the States?
Dallas.
In Dallas? Oh, no. So we won't be able to see it?
No. He's going to have to travel 6 hours.
So we bought a house so he could be in the right place, and the clouds are going to be in the way.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 for commitment, though.
I know.
So if you ever had totality in Manchester, where I live, there's no point buying your house because there's always
Don't even bother, Although, as Elizabeth was saying, the best place is the Western Isles, possibly Ayrshire. What do you say, fellas? Should we get on the road trip?
I was planning on going to Ayrshire. It depends on what this cloud cover's going to do. And the other thing as well is if you're planning on looking at it, make sure you've got the right stuff to look at it. Don't go out and look at the sun. You can use a colander to look at them, like the light projected. If you look at the shadow, the little holes all form the shape, and you'll see the little bit missing. But don't go out and just look at the sun, please. And
you didn't buy a house in Ayrshire just in case?
No, I haven't. No.
Thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate it. Ben Marshall is an astronomer at the Grasholme Observatory. That's up in Teesside, you said, isn't it? Thank you very much.
Really looking forward to seeing the images. Thank you so much.